The billionaire's son was born deaf, and in that single moment all the power and wealth in the world felt meaningless. Doctors spoke in careful tones, using complicated medical terms. But the message was always the same. There was no guaranteed cure. The billionaire, a man used to solving every problem with money, refused to accept defeat. He summoned the best specialists from different countries, invested in cutting-edge technology, and explored treatments that others could only dream of affording. Yet nothing worked. The silence around his son remained unbroken. The child grew up in a quiet world where voices were only movements of lips and emotions were read through eyes instead of sound. He learned to smile without ever hearing laughter and to cry without hearing comfort. While other children reacted to music, thunder, or their parents' calls, he felt none of it. His world was safe but painfully distant. Inside that silence, he often wondered why his father looked at him with such sadness. The billionaire hid his pain behind luxury and authority. In public, he appeared confident and untouchable, admired for his success and dominance, but behind closed doors, guilt consumed him. He blamed his ambition, his long absences, and the life he had chosen. Unable to face his own helplessness, he replaced affection with expensive gifts, believing provision was the same as love. This emotional distance slowly widened the gap between father and son. The child longed for connection, while the father feared confronting a reality he could not control. Their silent bond, fragile and incomplete, became the heart of the story, a powerful contrast between strength and vulnerability that instantly pulls viewers into an emotional journey of love, regret, and hope. While the world's best specialists came and went, the quiet maid remained. She was barely noticed in the grand mansion, moving softly through long hallways, cleaning rooms filled with expensive silence. Unlike the doctors, she did not carry machines or reports. What she carried was patience. Day after day, she watched the child closely, not as a case to be studied, but as a human soul to be understood. She noticed things others dismissed. The way his eyes widened when sunlight hit the window just right, how his fingers twitched when someone hummed nearby, even though he couldn't hear it, how his body reacted to certain vibrations in the floor, or how his breathing changed when emotions filled the room. These small reactions told her a story no medical chart ever could. The maid had grown up in hardship, surrounded by people who listened with their hearts more than their ears. She remembered an old lesson from her past, something her grandmother once showed her, a truth simple enough to be forgotten in a world obsessed with technology. One afternoon, when the child sat alone, she gently approached him. From her pocket, she pulled out a small, ordinary object, worn with time, meaningful beyond words. No one expected what happened next. The child froze, his eyes locking onto the object. His fingers reached out, trembling. His face changed. Confusion turning into curiosity, then recognition. For the first time, his world responded in a way no doctor had ever achieved. That moment was quiet, but powerful. It wasn't a miracle born of wealth or science. It was born of observation, empathy, and love. And in that single, unexpected act, the silence that surrounded the child began to crack, changing. Everything the billionaire thought he knew about his son, and about life itself. What the maid revealed in that quiet moment shook the billionaire to his very core. The small object in her hand was not expensive, not advanced, and not something any doctor had ever mentioned. Yet the instant the child touched it, something extraordinary happened. His body stiffened, his eyes widened, and then, slowly, he smiled. Not a polite smile, but a deep, emotional one that came from recognition. For the first time, the boy reacted with certainty, as if something inside him had awakened. The child pressed the object against his chest, feeling its vibrations, its rhythm. His fingers Moved with purpose, responding naturally, almost instinctively, the maid gently guided him, and to everyone's disbelief, the boy began to communicate, not through sound, but through feeling. His emotions poured out freely. He laughed silently, yet his joy filled the room louder than any noise ever could. The silence was still there, but it was no longer empty. The billionaire stood frozen, years of denial. Pride and guilt crashed down on him at once. He realized the truth he had buried for so long. He had been trying to fix his son instead of understanding him. He had chased cures and solutions while neglecting connection. The maid's simple act exposed a painful reality. His child didn't need to be changed. He needed to be accepted. That moment unlocked a forgotten truth from the billionaire's past. Long before wealth and power consumed him, he too had once believed in simple human bonds. Somewhere, along the way, he had lost that belief. Watching his son respond with trust and love, he felt tears fall freely for the first time in years. The revelation changed everything. The billionaire learned that miracles are not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes they arrive quietly, through patience, compassion, and the most unexpected hands, teaching lessons no fortune ever could.